just for our own knowledge, what happened. All right, so these are my ideas for making the most of synchronous time. I hope they are helpful, but if they are not, I apologize. Okay, so let's see. We're making several paradigm shifts, which you are more familiar with than I am. But these are the things that we're going to talk about today, ever so briefly. And I'm hoping that all of you have expertise to share in some of these paradigm shifts, because I'm not going to lie, it's been rough for me even, and I'm not with students. So the things that I think, after talking to teachers and students and everyone, that I think we need to shift as far as, right here, right now, are we're making room for social emotional learning. We've all made a commitment to it, but we have not made any room for it. So synchronous time is a really great place for social emotional learning, because it builds that classroom climate and has shared experiences. And now more than ever, we have to build relationships with students, and that is so hard when we are not with them. So the second thing is to assume positive intentions, which is also part of that building relationships. Number 3 is scale it down. We are used to doing so much in so little time, and we don't necessarily have to do that right now. Like, we can distill our content into essential standards, into high yield strategies and activities. We don't have to do all of the things that we have been asked to do for the last 20 years at once. We can pare things down to what the kids absolutely need. And that includes using high yield strategies. And I've combined that one with scale it down. So hopefully those go together. Instead of teaching kids to work independently, we're teaching them to collaborate. I don't know if any of you have had any cheating issues, but that is one of the first things that happens when you're in an online classroom, is that you and the children discover how easy it is to cheat. So instead of forcing them to, take their own notes or develop their own graphic organizers, how do we teach them to collaborate, kind of like college students? So that they can make the most of their time and talents and relationships themselves. And then the last thing is to collect and use the feedback, which of course goes with all of the other stuff as well. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to zoom in on my screen. I have developed, it has taken me all summer long, actually, to develop a meme bracket is what I was going for. And everyone should have editing access to this. We're going to have a meme duel. And at the end of the session, we'll know which one is the best quarantine meme, like, for sure. So everyone can take one of these dots and move them either next to Caveman Child or the principal from Breakfast Club, according to which one you think is the best meme. And then we'll have a little vote. And then on the next time we do this, we'll put this meme up against the next one that I have. So everyone take a few seconds to vote for your favorite meme. And don't cover up each other's dots. And I think I have enough. If we run out of dots, just copy and paste. Yeah, here. I'm going to move this down. Oh, look at that. They appear. And we're using the honor system here, so don't cheat so that your meme wins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, according to our dots, oh, I don't believe it. Next year's school pictures has more votes than the principal. Are you kidding me? Who are you people that don't know the Breakfast Club? No matter. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to paste it here. And then after we do our first piece, we'll have the second part of the bracket. So we're going to make room for social emotional learning, because in my experience, the more inside jokes, the more fun you have together, the more willing your class will be to follow you to where you need to go. And part of that is assuming positive intentions. Now, this is a really, really big shift, because we are used to being the behavior police, right? We're used to trying to keep control of the environment, to keep control of the students. Many of us have experiences where we have graded students on behavior, but guess what? We're not with them anymore. And in a way, it's freeing, right? I mean, I think that if it's not on me to make sure somebody's not on their cell phone, for example, that would create a better climate in my classroom. So to that end, these are some things that we can do as teachers in our classrooms to help build that relationship, and that shows the students that we assume that they have positive intentions. So the first one is to make decisions together. And if you are in my other session, I did a little thing about setting norms together. And that can be very powerful, because I don't know if you've seen all of these tweets from parents and kids all summer long, but there were kids, I tried to find it for this training, but I couldn't. There was this family where the kids who were in elementary and middle school wrote their parents like a ransom note and said, "We are not coming out until we have some agency in this family." And that was in March. So if that was what was happening in March, imagine what it's like right now. So include the kids in the decisions. What are the necessary things that we need to have a productive meeting together, right? Should we all be clothed? Yes. Do we all have to be in dress code? Not necessarily. Who's enforcing that? No one, right? Do we have to have our cameras on? Maybe for some things, but not really for everything, right? Let's make a decision together, and then they have buy-in also. Because they're holding one another accountable for the decisions that they made, not just rules that you made. And that's part of the build relationships, not expectations. I don't know where the other half of this word went. Fix that. And then don't have a meeting that could be an email. We have all experienced that this summer, right? Where we were all in meetings that could have been emails. And if you just extend that to the kids too, at least as far as they can be trusted to do the things. I mean, maybe that's something that you test out, which is, okay, you said that I could email you this information and that then you would complete this task. Did that work or did it not work? Can we do it again? What do we do? So try and show them show them the opportunities that there are in creating a shared culture rather than in trying to punish bad behavior. Because we don't have control over anything anymore. I mean, we're all already grounded, and that's just it. I mean, what are we going to do? So we have to do something else. We have to build relationships. And we have to make it clear that whatever we're asking the kids to show up for is worth their time and their internet and their attention. And part of that is shifting to student-centric activities. I feel like when I was a teacher, my mid-career, where I decided to get national board certified, I was a very teacher-centric teacher. Everything in my room operated according to how I wanted it to operate, right? I wasn't taking the students into consideration. And now that I'm not the person on the stage in the front of the room running the show, right? I made that shift to student-centered activities. What are the students going to get out of this, and what's the best way to get them there? Not how does this make me feel or me look good or anything like that. And that's a hard shift to make if you are used to organizing your environment around your own needs and your plans. And I think that this quarantine has made that shift for a lot of us, right? Like we need to shift our thinking and make things more student-centered. And then the last one is to offer multiple opportunities for success. So I know, and Lisa, maybe you can talk about this later. I was talking to John at your school about maybe having, instead of saying you have to do this, and this, say you have to complete 5 of these 7 things. for this standard, right? And then they can choose which things they do. Or if they need more practice, they can do another one. If they want to save them all for the end, they can do the last 7. If they want to get them all out of the way, they can do the first 7. But like offer multiple opportunities and ways for students to show you their learning as opposed to one way, like a multiple choice test or an essay or whatever. So that's all I have to say about that. Okay, time for meme number 2. Going to reveal it now. Drag and drop your vote. Oh, there we go. Let's do this. Everyone can see the Spider-Man one now, so let's just make it a little smaller and then we can. All right, has everyone voted who wanted to vote? Is this all of the dots for this one? Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ooh, by a nose, Spider-Man. All right. I'm just gonna plop him right down here. And no cheating, no looking forward. That steals the surprise. All right. The next thing is going to be combining shifts 3 and 4, and we want to scale it down and use high yield strategies. This I did steal from someone at the University of Denver, and I will put a link in here at the end. I totally forgot to do that last night. If you can take some of your activities, your favorite activities or projects or whatever, and scale them down, distill them to a purpose, a deliverable, and an assessment, then all of your kids will know exactly what is expected of them and what the point of them doing this is and what they're going to get out of it. And I feel like now more than ever, it's so important to show those things and be transparent about that with students, especially after the panic of the spring when none of us knew what to do. But here's an example of me doing that with kids. I took an assignment that I had a couple years ago about sentence parts and punctuation, and I'm just going to show you one of the assignments that was the basis for this. So I'm going to share this tab, and then I'm going to open this folder. And here's an example of the notes that they took. And it's just like basic sentence parts, dependent clauses, introductory phrases, participial phrases, sentence types, right? And what I had done, just a little side trip here, is I gave them the first 3 columns, and then they kept up with me and they put any notes they wanted in this column, and they emboldened. Can you see me? How about now? Lisa, can you see it?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, great. So I had given them the first 3 columns, and they had this column blank, and they could put in any notes that they wanted to record. And they emboldened all the things that they thought were important or the examples in each of the column. And then they had to find examples of each one of those things and use the comments later on. And this way, you're not waiting for like the last kid to finish writing down whatever the notes are, right? Like if you wanted to give them a document that had less in it, you can. But I think if we're going to use synchronous time wisely, don't make them do something at the same time that they can do more efficiently by themselves. That's my suggestion about that. So they had this little bit of instruction about sentence parts. Then they had to create a slideshow where they were making comparisons. And this is the high yield strategy of the slideshow. It's a Marzano comparison strategy. So they had to connect the grammatical concepts to their prior knowledge. And there are all kinds of different categories here. And they had to put a picture and then explain their answer using the sentence part. A picture, and then they have to explain the answer using the Oxford comma. And then here's the rubric by which they will be judged. It is standards-based, and I will show you a good way to use a standards-based rubric with a form in just a minute here. And so here is one of my students' presentations. All right, so the Oxford comma is Kanye West because it interrupts everything, right? And then you have a picture of him literally taking the microphone out of T Swizzle's hand. So that was for the Oxford comma. This one was for dependent and independent clauses. And you can see like a shark is an independent clause because it's independent, whereas a goldfish relies on you to live in the suburbs. And all the kids will come up with different things for all of these. And so if you want to share them, that'll help everyone else kind of solidify their knowledge. This is one of my favorite ones. A participle is a verb doing the job of an adjective. So here we have Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill doing the job of a high school student, even though they are police officers. And so there are all these examples, which I'm not going to make you look at all of them, but this is a really interesting way for students to show their thinking. I found, and I really enjoyed that about this activity. Okay, this is a good one too. If it were a meal, what would it be? So a compound sentence is two independent clauses put together, right? And so this person has ravioli and a meat plate, but an independent clause and a dependent clause are different because one's not filling. One can't exist by itself. And then let me just show you how I graded this, or how I would grade it. Is I created a form. And what I would do is I would have the slideshow open on one side of my screen and the form open on the other. And so you just go through, and these are the names of X-Men. This is not real people, not breaking FERPA. So I have all the kids' names, and then I just fill out what they get for each standard. And then I can email it back to them using Flubru or a different extension in Google Forms. And then all my grades are in one place, and I don't have to open up 17 people's classroom documents because that's annoying, as I'm sure some of you have discovered. All right. Okay. What happened to Spider-Man? Where'd he go? Where did I put Spider-Man? Oh, he's too far down. Okay. Sorry. All right. Big reveal. Here we go. Ready? Okay, vote. Matthew McConaughey or Spider-Man? I don't know where that one in the middle belongs. Yeah. I would like to know who allowed Matthew McConaughey to wear those glasses. All right. It's a landslide. Michael McConaughey wins. Matthew McConaughey, not Michael McConaughey. So we're going to put him in the next one and then go back. All right. So shift 5 is teaching to collaborate. So These are just some different examples that I had thought of about this. So if you have collaborative notes, I saw a lot of seniors do this for senior thesis projects, right? They wanted to have all the information in one place, especially because seniors have so many other commitments outside of class or whatever. They had to be gone a lot. And so they would have one person who they really trusted be the main note taker. And then they would all add things into the notes later. And so then they know that they're not missing anything. Or they can do that asynchronously also, and they can do it in groups. And anytime you have anyone doing anything in a group, that is less grading, which I am a fan of. The second one is called a media reflection, and that's where the students work together to apply the concepts in a chosen product. So if you say, and I have an example of this at the end. If you say, we're going to watch this video, and then I want you to apply the concept of growth mindset to either a collage, a paragraph, or a flowchart. Then you have them join a group based on what product they want to do, not who their friends are or what they think would be easiest. And it's called a media reflection. So you translate your learning into a media product. We have discussed creating norms together. So I'm just going to skip over that one. Forming teams by products. Okay. Let me show you this media reflection here at the end. So here's an example where I've distilled this for a media reflection. So the purpose is to connect the growth mindset concept to academic, non-academic skills. And there are 3 options for the deliverable, and they can choose which one they want. We do now know that student choice, student choice, student choice, and student choice are the main things that we need to have in our classrooms, I hope. And then their assessment is a standards-based rubric. Okay, I don't know how many of you have seen this video. This is called the Fleming family. And I'm just going to show you a couple of things. Okay, so the deal is the family is teaching their parents how to do this TikTok dance. And it starts here, and it goes on for like 10 minutes. And it is hilarious, right? Here's one little bit where they've almost got it. But they're all helping him until finally, at the end, they're outside because they're like, let's try it outside. Let's do it differently. See? Okay, so this is just one little video they could watch asynchronously. And then, how do I get back to my PowerPoint? My goodness. Okay, I'll close that. Close that. Okay. So then they watch the video and they can decide how they want to show their learning in a media reflection. There is one F-bomb in here, but the Irish accent is so thick, they might not even notice. But you could also adapt that to do with a different thing too. But this family is hilarious, and I highly recommend that you follow them on Facebook or YouTube or whatever. That was kind of fast. Are there any questions about that part? No, we're ready to decide if Matthew McConaughey moves to the next bracket. Okay. All right. Big reveal. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. This is where we find out if there are any middle school history teachers among us. Ready, set, go. Matthew McConaughey or middle school teacher in 2050? Here, do we need to move this so that you can get to the dots? Yeah, it's that one. And I made that by just copying and pasting dots and putting them on top of each other repeatedly. That's why they never ran out. Okay, it looks like it's 7 to 5, but there are 30 people in this room. Oh, man. The middle school history teachers are kicking out Matthew McConaughey. All right. Here we go. Put this bad boy up here. All right. The 6th shift is collecting and using feedback. Jeannie, do I have 15 minutes? Is that right?
Yes, you do.
Okay, great. Thanks. Perfect. This is all going according to plan. All right. So the 6th shift is to collect and use feedback. And this goes into all of the other steps as well, because when you ask kids for their feedback, they will tell you what works and what they're not willing to do and when to change it. So what issues already exist and what is within our control? Like, we cannot control whether there are jerks in our class writing the N-word in the chat, but how can we try and circumvent that the next time, right? We're going to have to figure out who's doing it and then how to kick them out. And right now, you can't kick someone out of a Google Meet. Is that right?
You should be able to. A teacher should be able to.
Okay, so I didn't know if that was.
Yeah, I removed somebody earlier today.
You what?
So you can remove them.
Okay.
I removed them and then they can't come back in.
Good to know. But maybe if we talk to the kids and say, what should we do? What do we do? And I'm not saying kids will be able to solve all of the issues, but maybe the issue is the teacher wants to see their smiling faces every day, right? But they don't want to. Let's talk about that. Could we deal? Could we say, could we have our faces showing every day but Friday? Could we, like, what could we do? Or what's the problem? Is it because you don't want to get dressed? Because no one cares about that or whatever. What issues do we have and what's within our control? And then just the whole problem solving cycle here of what ideas do we have? Which one should we try? How can we implement it? And then you do it. And then you talk about what worked and what didn't. And then you tweak it. And if you do this as a class and not just as a single adult trying to maintain control over crazy teenagers, you will have much better results. And they'll be more invested in making things go well. In my experience, that is what has happened to me. So you ask them what the issues are, what ideas do we have? You crowdsource it. That's what they call it, crowdsourcing. You come to a consensus, you vote, whatever, and then you figure it out together. And that creates a climate where we're all working to improve all the things every time. All right, we're almost to the end here, folks. And then I want to hear what's working for you and what it's like. Okay. Second to last one is a dog. Oh, it's thoughts of dog. My pet is across the room on a rug. He's not helping me with this one. Okay. Middle school history teachers or dog CEOs? Do we need to make this smaller?
Marissa, you can right click on that picture and you'll see an option send to the back.
Yep, I think I shall do that. Oh, it doesn't want me to. Did you already do it? Somebody already do it?
They may have. I didn't do it, but somebody
Marissa, I just did it. I'm sorry.
Okay, cool. No, it's okay. Please. Oh, middle school history teachers are getting the shaft. Oh, no. All right. Dog CEO it is. I don't even remember what the last one is now. I don't know if the dog's going to win or not. Ah! All right. So this is just to review, right? We got to make room for social emotional learning. We have to assume positive intentions, scale it down, use high yield strategies, teach them to collaborate, and collect and use feedback. Okay, here we go. Are we ready? I should have had music, but sorry. I apologize. This is the, hey, remember like last summer when we found that mummy in the black sarcophagus that was never supposed to be opened? And Egypt's director of antiquities was like, well, we opened it and the world hasn't fallen into darkness yet. Anyway, I'm sure it's fine. Dog CEO or Egyptian mummy curse? Go. Thank you. Oh, looks like the mummy curse hit a little too close to home. Seven to 6. Now's your chance. It's the dog CEO. Yes. This one is a much more positive note than we may have released primordial forces into the planet. All right. So this is where I am interested in your expertise. And I did this in another session a little while ago. And based on the feedback they gave me, I did assign slides to people with last names because that was a little confusing with 35 people in the session. So what you're going to do is you're going to type what's working for you on this Post-it or a Post-it somewhere, depending on what your last name starts with. And then if you can paste a slide or if it needs more description or whatever, what you can do is you add text to this. And then you add a new slide, which, oh my goodness, it's covering it up. Here we go. Okay. And then you can put the answer info or whatever on that slide. And then you copy the address of that slide and you attach it to the text on your Post-it. And then we'll all have a link to the things that we're doing that are working. So that when we all come back to this later, we can click on this and it'll take us to the information. So everyone take a minute and put something in there that's working for you. And I'll try and ask some questions and interact with you. Does anyone have any questions about the rest of the material or anything? I'm glad your meets are going well. I've heard mixed things. It's rough. Cool. Isn't it great when your students just do what you tell them because they know you already? I miss that. Daniel, I love collaborating in Google. What is waterfall?
It's where you have all the participants type their answer in chat without hitting enter until you say go.
Ooh,
So then they all pop in all at once.
that is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, flipped classroom. Yeah, giving students a choice about how to contribute, that's really important too. Some days I want to just drop it in the chat. Some days I want to talk. Just depends. What is the 10-2-2 strategy?
Sorry, Marissa, I was going to answer, but I had to turn my fan down. It sounds like.
No, that's okay.
But 10-2-2 is you give 10 minutes of instruction, a 2-minute processing activity. Sometimes I just do that in the chat, and then you give them like a quick 1 to 2 minute break, and then you do another chunk of instruction.
That's fun. That way we're not just staring at screens all day.
It's actually an old Avid strategy that I've used for in person for a long time, but I think you're right. It gives the kids a nice break. They can look away from their screen.
Yeah, well, and hopefully it would decrease the amount of interruptions in the middle of the instruction too, if they know they have a break coming up in 12 minutes. Seems like. Yeah, brain breaks, movement. Modeling patience. God bless you people. Recording your own videos seems like a good way to kind of maybe give yourself a break. One time when I had lost my voice, I made like a Love Actually video, you know, where I was holding up posters and I was just telling the kids what to do through my posters. And I just showed each class that recording, and then they did the things, and they were dead silent when they were watching a movie of me in a way that I had never seen them when I'm standing in front of them in person. All right, we have 3 minutes. These are just the slides. Oh, cool. Yeah, the slide instructions, because I stole it from SlidesGo. All right. Where did my meat go? Show your dogs, absolutely. Dog a day, the cats, everything, yes. Let's enjoy this time of our lives where we can have our pets at work. My cat does not care about what's happening right now, but he was very involved this morning. All right, Jeannie and I want to thank you for coming and for carving out time to come and be away from your students and your responsibilities, and just what a great job you all are doing. I just want to put it out there that teachers are doing back-breaking labor and work and just of Olympic proportions trying to provide quality instruction for students. And we know that you are doing that. And I just want to thank you because it is just amazing to see how, especially this group of TLFs has stepped up to the plate through all of this chaos. It is truly moving. And I'm so glad to see you all again. And hopefully we'll have at least one of these in person this year, but I don't know. So, oh, thanks. So yeah, if I can do anything, I can stay around for about 3 minutes. Otherwise, you can email me, marissa.bannerman@aps.edu, and make sure that you fill out the feedback form at the end of all of the sessions today so that we can do this better next time. This was our first time doing this, so thanks for your patience with all that stuff too. And that's all I have. Jeannie?
No, I think you said it all.
Okay. Look at that, with like 30 seconds to spare. Did you see that? Oh my goodness.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You too. Everybody take care.